basement. On phase 2 for the shop area, you can see basically work off of what we have now and build some new facility with it. And option 2 would be to basically raise what we presently have for the main building and start anew. For the man building, and this was one of the primary changes that we made from last week, we had the ratio, or I shouldn't say we, I had the ratio of the footprint incorrect. This is more appropriate, and basically it has a basement and 2 floors above that. Basement would hold storage, mechanical and support. Second floor and third floor would hold engineering and community development. Total of this would be 15,660 square feet. And with this change that we made, of course, you save a whole lot for the parking lot, and it's also a lot cheaper.
What was the former price, Dwight? I don't have the, do you remember?
Do you remember? I don't have that with me. There's a couple.
I believe it was 5.7 million
5 points, so that sounds right.
For the
For the man building.
for the
Man building
for the
replacement?
33,000 square foot building, correct.
okay.
And City Hall basement, basically remodeling the downstairs basement to hold information systems and human resources. There's some storage in there, as well as some of the IS equipment areas. And with those 4 phases, the cost, new police facility, the estimate was about $4.8 million. Option A with the maintenance shop, that's using what's presently there and adding on, was a little over $7 million. Option B, starting anew, was $10.1 million. The man building was $3.6 million, and the remodel of the basement, it was $710,000. And depending on which option that we would go with, if you were using option A, would be 16.3 million. Option B would be 19.2 million.
So you're talking, where is the water department going to go?
To the city shops at our office building.
Okay. And then we're talking about getting rid of the Magyar building, and then also what are we doing with the current police station?
Well, based on this, the recommendation by the consultants was to
Vacate it.
vacate it, but we haven't
Sell it
gone
or-
any further than that. Be a lot of options for
Gary?
that.
Well, and this is a starting point.
Right.
It's a plan, it's something to steer toward. Circumstances will change, obviously, with an minimum amount of 16 million and maximum amount of 19 million. It's not something we're going to jump in and do right away. Circumstances may change. We may be forced because of lack of resources or realignment of departments, that sort of thing, which may make that if the police station, if it's relocated, that building would be available perhaps for some other city use. So again, I think as we move through this, we will reassess it at regular intervals as circumstances occur and be able to then make a decision then what's the best move for the city.
So
John?
if we approve this, it's not cast in stone.
Not
Cast
at
in
all.
paper, John.
If I may, it's the same thing as the water comprehensive plan, sewer comprehensive plan, parks and rec, master plan, so on and so forth. We're asking you to accept them, adopt them as plans. We will steer toward that, but every decision that will be made by the city council based on the resources that we have.
We have, Gary, I've talked to several counselors over this past week, and some of the concerns is you have a plan like this, and then all of a sudden it becomes cast in stone with staff, and they think, well, this is the direction we're headed. Well, maybe and it may not be. Is we have our major challenge areas. We all know that the police department's something we're looking at is going to be the first thing we tackle as we're going along. We don't know how long that's going to take us to get. And all of these are phases. Who knows how long it will take for all this stuff to develop? A very good chance is none of us are here when that in the end game, really. So, but your concern, John, is legitimate, Gary.
Yeah, and again, I know I've talked about the strategic plan a lot over the last year, but in order to make decisions for the entire city operations, you need to know what the plan is for each phase, water, sewer, you name it. This gives you the opportunity to get all those together. And is the price tag huge? Exactly, it is huge. But you're going to have to prioritize and use your finite resources where you can. So John, it's not like this is never going to change. Obviously, it's going to change. We would burn up almost all of our GO bond capacity just on the facilities plan and leave nothing for parks, nothing for streets or any of that if
Fire
we did that.
trucks.
So it's just unrealistic.
Okay.
Walter. Thank you, sir. Dwight, you didn't mention on page 4, section 4, page 1, the fact that phase 3 description is the old one for the man building work
Correct.
and was not updated to fit the new picture.
Correct.
Gary, we need to get a corrected page, please, for that, with that phase 3 paragraph restated, please.
What, that was section 4, page 1?
Yes.
Yes.
It still talks about a 33,800 two-story building.
Yeah, the picture later in that section is the picture Dwight had up on the
Yeah, I
board.
see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Jim, you had a...
Yeah, we had the right information sent, it just didn't come back the same way we sent it, sorry. Didn't catch it.
Dwight, when you put up there the pros and cons of the water, where the water department is, being close to the wellhead is a con, why would the water department being close to the wellhead be a negative?
Well, you're talking the
Convenient.
building itself, they don't have any expansion options, any construction options, because the wellheads are there. Can't do anything with the building because there's an obstacle.
I thought it was interesting.
Wells are the obstacle.
It's a pro because it's close to water, but it's a con because it's close to the wellhead. It's like, okay.
It does sound kind of funny, but there you have it.
But if let's say, for instance, you could, the guy that owns that building now wanted to give it to us and we could scrape it off and use that space, and it would be convenient to the wellheads, then it would be a positive thing in that context, would it not?
The only reason that they had that down as a con was if you wanted to expand the building, you have wellheads in the way.
Oh, I see.
That's the only reason.
Okay.
That's
Thank
it.
Other than going up.
Yeah.
Other than going,
I think Les might be able to expand upon whether or not you need water offices or not next to a wellhead water treatment plant building.
You want to take a
Any
stab at it, Les,
comment,
here?
Les?
Yes, certainly. It's not a requirement. We have wells throughout the city, and obviously they're distant from the offices of the staff. Having wells 2 and 3 close by are convenient from that perspective. Probably what would be more important would be having the ability to have staff at the treatment facility, which is also at that location for the water treatment side. But again, if they have to travel from the shop site to that site throughout the day to check on that facility, that's not really a problem either. It runs pretty independently. So yeah, the issue really was that if you wanted to use that land and reconfigure buildings or build new structures or somehow modify or enlarge them, the wells themselves get in the way of that process.
Mr. Mayor?
Walter?
If I may, the reason I caught the difference in the two graphs was that I'd been looking at the one on section 3, page 3, and while I will vote to approve this plan subject to John's questioning and comments regarding Stone and Gary's reaction to it, I have a problem with and you can dispute whether or not the population increase is the correct percentage or not. I mean, it's a guess, hopefully an educated one. But when you take the population up 35% by 2033, and then show a staff increase of 52%, and then you show facility space increases of 77%, 78%, 88%, and 350%, I feel like the tail may be wagging the dog or something. I'm not sure what the correct analogy is, but I hear staff and I hear council people talk about demands for more services. I don't hear that much in terms of citizens demanding more services. We did get a citizen demand for more playfields, which we've already had spoken about tonight. We reacted to it, we did something about it, and the only person probably that wants to see kids out there playing on that more than Dan Carscallon is myself. So we do react when we get specific, legitimate demands for services by citizens that we can find a way to fund and accomplish. But I just don't see that we're getting constant demands for gimme, 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 and staff is trying to figure out how to accomplish all of that, and we're expected to find the money to pay for it, and in order to do all that, we've got to grow all these buildings as much as we do. So that's a little bit of a disconnect that I've got with the document. Just one last thing, Wayne. Possibly, just an idea to throw out there, Gary, so somebody can think about it when the time comes. If the police station present building were abandoned because they moved to a new facility, maybe that's a water and sewer office building and don't have to build a new one out at the city shops. I don't know. There would be questions for Les and staff about, is it convenient, good place, bad place, does it work, won't it work, but just something to throw out there.
Wayne?
I share a little bit of your concern, Walter, when we talk about demands for services. However, and I agree that citizens of Moscow are not demanding more services. But at the same time, they do demand things. They demanded ball fields. They wanted ball fields for 10 years before we finally got them ball fields. But we figured out a way to do it, or more. This, and the speculation on the population, and the speculation on what services we're going to provide, and the speculation on how many employees we're going to have is strictly that. It's speculation. This is not a lot different than trying to put together a long-range budget. It's the best guess with the best tools that we have at the time, and it continues to be a living document that's open for change. There's a lot of problems in this, and I debated myself as an outgoing council member whether I should even vote on this or how I should vote on it, therefore obligating future councils to this particular plan. But as John expressed concern and Gary responded, that it is a living document, that it's up for challenge and it's up for change, and the council ultimately controls it. The council controls everything because they control the money.
With that, Wayne.
And with that, I would make a motion to accept the City of Moscow Facilities Master Plan 2015.
I'll
I'll
second.
second.
I'll let John second it.
Okay.
Somebody else wants to.
John, you got the second. One point I wanted to make before I call for a roll on the vote, Wayne, is as councils go along on the strategic planning and priority-based budgeting that we're doing, that's not going to go away. And things of this nature will be stuff that will get caught up in those major challenge areas as deemed by whoever the present-day council is. Mm-hmm. And so I think adapting this plan is a go-ahead and is a smart thing to do, because councils will, with the strategic planning and how we're going to implement it as time goes along, whether it's this present-day body or a future body, should be able to see fit to get through based on whatever they've got for budget and bond capacity and so on and so forth. So with that, we've got a motion by Wayne and a second by John to accept the City of Moscow's Facility Master Plan at 2015. I'll start to roll you, John.
Excuse me, aye.
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 And I.
Okay, and we'll move forward. Thank you, Dwight.
Thank you.
Very much.
Do you want to take these to change the page?
If we could, yeah, we can just collect them after, and then we'll get these changed.
Dwight doesn't
So
need to
they'll be
pick them up. We'll
accepted
just run them through Lori and she can
Yeah.
just ban them wherever she.
We'll get them to you this coming week.